Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Parisa if you're new here, and in today's video it's all about 5 different flower types beginning with the letter G, part of the A to Z flower series. I've also made other flower facts videos, so check those out too if you like this video. Follow me on social media too. On Instagram I'm called Parisa Flowers and on Depop I'm called Parisa Chloe. And without further ado, let's get started with this video. The first flower that I'm going to be talking about is the Gardenia, and the meaning of this is love and purity. The colours that it comes in is white, pale yellow, red, pink. It blooms all year round from March to October, which is their general blooming time. Some interesting facts about the Gardenia is that it has a sweet fragrance, they can be singular or in small clusters, and they have 5 to 12 lobe petals and 5 to 12 centimetres in diameter. The leaves are arranged in whorls of 3 or 4. Gardenia are evergreen shrubs. And in medicine, they're used for many medical problems, for example, bleeding, bladder infections, anxiety, agitation, flu, high blood pressure, hard to sleep, if you're finding it hard to sleep, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, depression and cancer. So such a variety of problems that it can help, and I really wouldn't have known this without doing the research on it, and it's really surprised me in a good way. So how do you grow Gardenia? You should water them regularly in a week, at least an inch of water. You should use well-drained and moist soil such as compost, and it should be acidic, so it should be between 5.0 to 6.0 pH, and apply mulch to keep the soil moist and reduce water hogging weeds. So when should you plant the Gardenia? You should do it when the temperature is moderate, so between autumn to spring, and make sure that the Gardenia receives full sun or in some shade, as in full summer months the buds could fall off. So food, you should apply a humidifier because you need to keep them moist to avoid spider mites developing, using a dilute fertiliser, and apply from March to October for 2 to 4 weeks. Make sure in the first 6 weeks you're giving the Gardenias high nutrient levels, and you should check for insects like white flies. And if you do find any insects, you should use some insecticidal soap to control the pests. Don't apply fertiliser between non-growing season months. Use high nitrogen liquid feed every week in the spring and summer, and for continuous blooming just below the leaf node, remove the Gardenia every year. The second flower that I'm going to be talking about is the Gerbera Daisy, and this is a much more known flower compared to some of the other flowers that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and the meaning of it is devotion, son and closest to nature, and it's an Egyptian word, and it was believed by the Celts these flowers would lessen the stresses and sorrows of everyday life. They can simply mean a happy life's beauty that pops, fizzes and bubbles. They're playful as well as energetic, and this is reflected in their radiant colours, which are perfect for celebrating life. The colours that the Gerbera Daisy comes in is pink, red, white, yellow, and each colour has their own individual meaning. So pink means admiration, high esteem, yellow means cheerfulness, red means fully immersed in love or unconscious love, white means childlike innocence. The blooming time for Gerbera daisies are from spring until autumn, so quite a long time compared to most other flowers. Some interesting facts about the Gerbera daisies is that if someone gives this to you, it can symbolise that they're hiding something from you, and they always turn to face the sun. So if you're interested in photography, it would look amazing if you do time-lapse photography, because then you can see the Gerbera daisies facing the sun, and it looks really cool. I've never tried it myself, but it's definitely something that I want to try out in the future. And also the Gerbera daisy is the April birth flower. For medicine, the Gerbera daisy can be applied to the skin for wounds and skin diseases. It's an astringent, it's a blood purifier, and it can be used as a homeopathic for stopping childbirth issues and pain. How do you grow the Gerbera daisies? So you should water the Gerbera daisies once a week deeply. The soil that you should use should be slightly acidic, so 5.5 to 6.5 is recommended. And if it is higher than this, then something can happen called chlorosis, which is where the plant will go yellow, and you should also just make sure that the soil is moist as well. So when do you plant Gerbera daisies? You should plant them in spring, as you want to avoid them being grown in frost. So just make sure that it's probably like late spring to avoid the frost time. And you should space the Gerbera daisies 12 to 18 inches apart, and you should plant them in an area that has full sunlight. And the food that you should give them should be micronutrient plant fertilizers. For continual blooming, cut the flowers after they wilt. The next flower that I'm going to be talking about beginning with the letter G is the Gladiolus. This is my favourite flower beginning with the letter G. I hadn't actually heard of this before, but it is just so beautiful and the colours are just absolutely stunning. So the meaning of this plant is integrity and strength, and the colours that it comes in is pink, yellow, white, burgundy and evergreen. It blooms in springtime. Some interesting facts about this flower is that it's easy to grow. It's known for having large colourful blooms. It comes in a variety of sizes, some 3 inches in diameter, others 5 inches in diameter. They can nicely complement shorter plants by placing the larger blooms at the back. They are dependent on the zone climate that you live in as to if you should store the gladioli corms in the ground, then dig them up and then store them inside and followed by planting them in spring. They are a group of perennial cormous flowering plants in the iris family. It's sometimes known as saw lily. This genus can be found in tropical Asia, South Asia, Mediterranean and also Mediterranean Europe. In medicine, the gladiolus can be used to treat meningitis. That is something that is done in Lake Kenya, Victoria Basin, and it can treat diarrhea, ulcers. Hot water extracts of dried bulb is used to treat ulcers. How do you grow gladiolus? So you should use large sized blooms, ones that are 1 1/4 inches in diameter or larger. Put corm 4 inches deep and make it face up. Ensure the corms are spaced 6 to 8 inches apart. Water regularly to keep the soil moist, and in summer if they get less inches of rainwater, then make sure that you water them. The soil type should be about 2 to 4 inches of mulch around the gladioli to reduce weeds and keep the soil moist. When should you plant gladioli? You should plant a few gladioli corms almost every day in the last 2 weeks of April, so late springtime, wherever you live in the world, to allow continuous flower spikes. It will take roughly 3 months for the flowers to bloom after you plant them. So in terms of sunlight, they will grow best in full sun, but they can grow well in shade and sun. For food, 3 weeks after you've seen flowering, you should apply some tomato fertilizer. Then when you see that the flower spikes have reached 15 centimeters high, give them tomato fertilizer every 2 weeks. The next flower that I'm going to be talking about is geranium. The meaning of this is that it represents wishing good health and friendship. It's used as a housewarming gift, and in America, geraniums are a symbol of positive emotions like happiness. The colours that geraniums come in are red, pink, white, orange and purple. The blooming time for geraniums depends on the climate that you live in and the type of geranium. They should start blooming in spring when temperatures reach between 50 to 60 Fahrenheit. So some interesting facts about geraniums is that they have a great scent, so they can be used in hanging baskets. They can add colour and scent to window boxes. In medicine, geranium is great for antiseptic and anti-inflammatory purposes when it's used as a essential oil. So it's recommended to use geranium essential oil because of these benefits, but also geranium essential oil can boost immunity, improve circulation, reduce pain and blood pressure. So how do you grow geranium? You should put the plants in pots with drainage holes to stop the roots rotting. You should water them so that the soil doesn't get soggy. And the soil type that you should use is one that has a pH of 6.5, but it's recommended specifically to use loam soil. When do you plant geraniums? You should plant them in spring so that there is no or less chance for frost to happen, because that will not help the flowers grow. So for sunlight, you should make sure that they get 4 to 6 hours of sunlight roughly, so make sure that you're planting them in an area that has access to some sun but isn't in an area of full sun. The food that you should give geraniums is dry fertilizer watered into the soil. The final flower that I'm going to be talking about is the Gaura. I'd never heard of this flower before, but I'm just mesmerised by it. I think it's so beautiful. It kind of reminds me of like fairy tale vibe. It doesn't look real, it just looks so pretty. So the meaning of the Gaura is superb, and it is a word of Greek origin. The colours of the Gaura is white and pink. The blooming time for this flower is between May and October. Some interesting facts is that it's a genus of 20 species of annuals, biennials, perennials, subshrubs that are native to North America. They are pretty deciduous perennials that look stunning in a cottage garden style, which I'd never actually known about before. I didn't know that there was like a cottage garden style, and I've just done some research on what that style is, and I love it so much. I'm gonna have to do a bit more research on it and, you know, just have a look a bit more, because it just looks like something that I would love to have in my future garden. The Gaura is perfect for filling a gap between other flowers, and they look good in containers and among grass. So I recommend looking up the cottage garden style just because I really like it, and let me know if you like it too. I'd be interested. Gaura has no medicinal properties, which did surprise me because most flowers do, but this one doesn't. So how do you grow Gaura? Gaura is drought tolerant, so they don't need to be watered much. The soil type that you should use should be well drained and moist. You should plant Gaura in June to July. The sunlight that you should give Gaura should be in a sunny area, but also an area that has partial shade, because they like to have a bit of both. Food that you should give Gaura is, well, you don't really need to give it much food. The Gaura Lindhai Mary Ruby is one of my favourite Gaura flowers. It's a pink one, and in spring you should cut back congested clumps of Gauras and don't move mature plants there as they don't transition. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn about other flower types, be sure to watch the other videos from the A to Z Flower Facts series, which are all ordered. Please comment, like and subscribe. I would love you to join my YouTube family. Remember that I post videos every week, so make sure that you press the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. See you in the next one. Bye!